Welcome to another episode of Experts Speak. I'm Michael DeLon. Today I am talking with, the one, the only Susie Carder. Susie, thanks for squeezing me into your busy schedule.
So it is busy, but that's how I like it because that means I'm doing stuff. So thank you for having me. I'm so excited to share with your community and your tribe. This is a delicious topic. We're going to drop lots of diamonds. So get a piece of paper, get a pen. If you're driving, turn it up because you're going to want to take some notes.
That's right. This is going to be great. So Susie is, I call it AKA the profit coach, because that's really what she does. She has built a couple of businesses that have gone to 7-8 figures, and she helps business owners now. She has the systematic approach to growing businesses from really startup to $1 million plus businesses. And the thing I hear, Susie, we hear that all the time, right? 7 figures, 8 figures, and it seems so unreachable, right? Because most small business owners, as you'll tell us in a minute, don't ever reach that. But you've kind of cracked the code here, and you've got a book called Power Your Profits we're going to talk about. But before we get into all that, talk about, Susie, how in the world did you get here? Give us a snapshot of your background.
Well, if you look at 15% of your financial success is based on your vocation, right? So if you're a doctor, if you're a mechanic, if you're a financial planner, right? Whatever that vocation is. And the other 85% is sales, marketing, operations, and finance. Right, which I wasn't good at. I was good at my 15%. So my vocation when I started was a hairdresser. And so we owned a salon and spa, and I got married young. My picker was off. I didn't know how to pick a husband. So I got married, had a couple kids because I thought, how hard could that be?
That's right.
Right. And then found myself as a single mom, because again, I'm going to say my picker was off with no child support, no alimony, and I had to figure this thing out called business. Now I was great at that 15%, but that other side where now all of a sudden I had to make money differently than when I was married, right? I call that the back door. Too many entrepreneurs have a back door. They have a spouse, significant other, credit, family that's willing to bail them out.
Yep.
You got to shut that back door because I don't have a back door. That back door, look, at night I would go, this is back in the day, I'm a little seasoned, y'all. So if you're listening to this, I'm seasoned. I've been doing this for 30 years. So back in the day, we didn't have Google, we didn't have podcasts, we had to go to the bookstore. So I'd drag my kids to the bookstore and I'd find if I needed to learn how to market to get new clients, I'd sit down and read the marketing books. Now I had no money. I couldn't spend $25 on a book. So I'd find the book, then we'd go to the used bookstore for 25 cents and buy all the books, great. Right? So I had to manage my money. Then my kids got to get books, right? So they're avid readers now. So that was the blessing. I didn't even know I was giving them. I was just trying to figure out this thing called business. And there wasn't one book. There wasn't one thing that said, here's how you build a business, right? There just wasn't. You had to get all these books and all these resources and go, how do I figure this out in my world? So back in the day as a hairdresser, I did $250,000 a year. As a hairdresser, the average hairdresser did 30 grand a year. And so back then I was just in my hustle, like I got to take care of my family. I got to take care of my kids. I'm living in California. Lifestyle is just expensive. I wasn't extravagant. I do like my shoes, Michael. I do like shoes.
Gotta have good shoes. Girls like
you don't have to get naked. You can try a lot on and buy them, So that's my guilty pleasure. So Paul Mitchell found me and they're like, how are you doing $250,000 a year? And I'm like, oh, well, I have marketing campaigns. I have a marketing calendar. I upsell every client. I retail because when you retail, that has people come back because they trust and they like you. They're like, oh, will you teach our salons and spas how to do this? I'm like, sure. So I was coming from a servant, right? Servant leader. Let me show you. It wasn't a business. I didn't want to be a speaker. Didn't like speaking at all, right? Didn't know how to do this. And so I would go and teach on these little cluster classes. And they're like, oh my God, Susie, do you have a book? I'm like, I don't have a book. I'm a hairdresser. And I'm putting myself down, but that was a whole different side of my brain.
A comb and a hairdryer.
Exactly. So they're like, if you wrote a book, we'd buy it. And I'm like, I'm going to write a book. Now, again, didn't have a business strategy yet, right? I just was like, okay, they said they'd buy it. And then I thought, I'm going to be famous. So I write this book. I found an editor. I went to our publisher in that industry. There's only one publisher in that industry. And they're like, yeah, no, nobody would read this book. So I'm like, fine. So again, my hustle muscle, I'm like, I'm going to start my own publishing company. So I start my own publishing company. Because you don't tell me no.
That's right. There's always a way around it.
Right. So started a publishing company, again, not knowing what I was doing, right? And so I remember going to my first show Michael, I thought I was going to be famous. And I know your community can relate to this because I'm like, "Ah, I'm going to be famous now." So there's about 300 people in the audience, right? I do my talk, I get up, they come and I'm signing books, right? This line of people, I'm like, I'm accomplished. And so I made $2,000 that day and I'm excited I made $2,000 that day. Then the next guy comes up, and no disrespect, but he was kind of cheesy, right? We're in the beauty industry. He was not handsome, not put together. His clothes looked all disheveled. He looked all disheveled. And he's selling a $2,000 package. Like, no one's going to buy that. My own limiting mindset. No one's going to buy that. That's too expensive. This is in 1995, right? So I'm thinking, and I'm broke. So $2,000 sounds like a lot of money, right? So I am just judge. Nobody's going to buy that. I literally watched my line, leave my line, and go to his line. And I had my calculator, Michael. I'm like, holy crap, he just made $300,000 and I made $2,000. I need more expensive stuff. Right. And that was the day, it was the worst day and the best day, right? I mean, God throws people like that in your path and you got to pay attention.
Right.
So I went home and went, how do I create something that they would buy? Right. And I started listening to my consumer. How can I solve their challenges? Which was, they hated doing marketing. So we put an automated marketing plan together. They hated doing SOPs. SOPs are standard operating systems and procedures, and they didn't have them. So I'm like, I'll put those together and they can buy those. And my pricing strategy back in the day, Michael, you'd go, I'll buy that. I'm like, how much would you pay for that? Because I didn't have you, I didn't have a me, right? There wasn't the people, we had people in the beauty industry teaching beauty stuff, but I'm in this whole other genre. I didn't know where to even find you. I didn't even know where to find people like me. So I'm just saying entrepreneurship is crazy. I know it's a long-winded story, but it's crazy. It's a wild ride, and you have to look for the opportunity that's all around you.
Totally. Yeah. I tell people a lot of times, my journey entrepreneurial has been like a pinball in a pinball machine, right? It just bounces and bounces and you're hitting and you get slapped and you get plunged but you don't stop. Right.
And the lights go up. Ding, 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 ding. That's when you get paid. And you're like, okay, I figured it out.
But with once in a while it tilts on you, right? And everything shuts down. Then you have to regroup and say, okay, what am I going to do? Where's the opportunity now? And you go make an opportunity. I started a publishing company. What? You do things like that. That's what entrepreneurs do to grow. You had lots of nuggets there, Susie. We could do like 18 podcasts here. So you mentioned one little thing in there that you help business owners do. You've got the marketing things, but it's the SOPs. And I want to camp on both of those for a second, in the fact that what you were providing were really systems to run a business, to make that business, to prepare that business to grow.
Yeah.
Talk about without me. I don't, my goal, by the way, and I've told lots of people, is to work myself out of a job. I want a business that I can hold in my hand, the E-Myth, Michael Gerber, right?
Yes.
That's producing revenue for me. Part of my retirement plan is my business, because my son works in the business. He's going to take it over and pay me every month to be the consultant. Talk about the importance of that mindset, but also implementing systems and how you help people do that. That's huge.
Well, what I love is, I'm a student of Michael Gerber, right? I saw him in the, early 90s. And he talks about, if you have to be in your business every single day and you can't go on vacation. And if you are on vacation and you're firefighting, you don't own a job, you own a business. I mean, you don't own a business, you own a job.
Right.
And I just felt like I was sucker punched, because I had $1 million salon and spa, but literally on my vacation, my manager is calling me going, you have to come back. You have to come back. I'm not coming back.
I'm on vacation.
So I'm like, I got to figure this out. And so the thing that stuck in my head is build it as if you're going to franchise it, and build it so they don't need you. Now, ego as entrepreneur says they need me. But when building a business, you want to put those processes in place. And they don't have to be hard. People get so overwhelmed, like a system, put a checklist together. What's the checklist? That's how I started. Everything was a checklist. When you look at the early days and the SOPs we put together, it was just checklists that I put together for myself. And then Michael would go, can I have that? Can I buy that? Can I get a copy of that? I'm like, how much would you pay for that? Right. So it doesn't have to be hard. It has to be strategic. I need people to write that down, circle, highlight it, whatever you're doing. It doesn't have to be hard, has to be strategic. Right. And I didn't realize back in the day that it was hard building $1 million business. That was just my goal, to go, well, what do I need to do? Right. And I find people can manage money in two ways. They can manage sales. Like some people are comfortable to say $1 million. I find most entrepreneurs, because only 1.7% of entrepreneurs hit that mark. 80% of entrepreneurs own jobs. They're doing less than 100 grand a year. If you're making less than 100 grand a year, go work for somebody, right? Because it's like, because 50% of that has to go back into infrastructure. So you're not making 100 grand.
Right.
You might, if you're lucky, be making 50 grand. And depending on where you live in the world or in the country, it's like, you're definitely not surviving.
Right.
Only 2.5% hit $500,000, 2.5%. Here's the good news. 1% or 2%, it's not crowded. It's not crowded here. Come join us. It's funner making money than not making money. I've done both. I've been broke and broken, and I've been wealthy, right? And have my stuff together. Much better when you have money. It just gives me options and freedom. I could have hired Michael right back in the day. If there's money, I didn't know Michael existed, right? Why are we working so hard who needs to have a publishing company? I did not, but I didn't know.
That's right.
Right. So I think it's important that you look at and this is morbid, but this is how I trained my brain. If I got hit by a bus, what do I need to put in place so Michael could come in and run my business as a non-technician?
Absolutely.
Right. And so as I built my business, Paul Mitchell, L'Oreal, Wella, all Joico, they all said, can you teach our salons and spas? Because again, $1 million business is a big deal. I didn't know that. And that was back in 2000, right? In the 90s. To go, sure, I can teach you. Then I had to figure out how to get paid for that. But that's how I started consulting, is from, again, my servant leadership. I think God knocks, right? Sorry, my dog heard me knock. I think God knocks, right? And you have to listen for the knock, right? Some of you are going, that is annoying. What is that annoying thing? Well, that's the opportunity. Where's the opportunity? Where's the opportunity? God was knocking. Here was the opportunity. Then I had to figure out how to monetize it. How do I make this a business? How do I replace this? So I sold the salon and spa for millions. Now, how do I build this training and development company? We built that training and development company, not knowing how, and sold it for $10 million to Ritker's Publishing. That's a big deal. As a hairdresser, I don't have a business degree. I don't have my PhD. People think I have this like, oh, you must have this business acumen. Yeah, it's called fire. It's called the school of hard knocks. It's called falling down, getting bloody knees, bloody elbows, and having to get back up again, right? When you don't have that back door, you don't have the leisure of sitting down, right? I didn't have the leisure of sitting down because I've always had to provide for my family, not in a bad way, just that it was just me. If it was meant to be, it was up to me.
Wow.
So I want you to see, for everyone listening, what's the opportunity, right? If Michael's crossing your path, maybe it's time for you to be an author. Now, I thought I was going to be famous and rich being an author. I didn't know. I didn't know the strategy, right? But a book is an expensive business card and a marketing tool. The minute I wrote the book, the first book I wrote, this is the 10th book that I have. The first book that I wrote, immediate credibility. Now people who wouldn't give me the time of day started giving me the time of day. Right. And I'm like, well, this is interesting. Right. And literally I sold the book at an event and they read it that night and came back to me that day and went, oh my God, I need to hire you. Like, oh my God, what took me so long? And so I always tell people it's about leveraging you as a brand. You have to have it. It's like your PhD, your master's as an expert. And I don't care what kind of expert, a chiropractor, a doctor, right? A landscape designer, right? All my clients, similar to yours, that's the first thing I tell them. Now, I don't do that. I refer them out to somebody like Michael to go, I'm just going to tell you my story. I'm not writing your book. I'm not doing any of that. I'm going to show you how to make money at it. Michael's going to do that for you.
Yeah.
So juicy.
That's awesome because you've got, again, nugget after nugget after nugget, but I love your checklist. In today's world, I talk about systems all the time. Open a Google Doc and start a system and checklist of how do you answer the phone? How do you get on Zoom calls? How do you take somebody from happy client to orientation sequence? What are the steps? And with Google Docs, I use Loom, Loom, a lot because we video things. It's like, okay, here, guess what? That's the beginning of a system. And you're right, it doesn't have to be complex at first, but business owners are so busy being in that technician seat, as Michael Gerber would say. They're spending all of their time doing their job because that's what they're great at, but they're not building the business to run without them. And if you hadn't done that, you would not have sold it for tens of millions.
No, that's the only reason why I did is we documented everything, right? When I look back, it's like, what had them pay that much? Because it was still people heavy, right? A salon and spa people heavy, training and development people heavy. It's not widget and gidget. It's consultants and trainer. Like that's a hard business to sell.
Yes.
And it was because we did, everything. We did audios. That's how old I am, Michael. I'm just saying. I'm seasoned, right? We had audios, right? And then instant teleseminar recording.
I mean, I was going to say, do you remember the teleseminars on the phone for an hour listening to somebody? It's like, we did that. But
and we did that. And it was awesome, right? We were still technology, like, wow, we're so cutting edge. But when you go from from 100,000 to 250, it's a different business, different system.
yes.
You don't have to rewrite all the systems. You need to update the system, right? From 250 to 500,000, you're bringing more people. You've got to update the systems. You got to add more things. From 500,000 to 1 million, different business, right? And I think people go, I'm going to wait till I get to 1 million to build the system. No. You got to build it now,
Yep.
right? Because the first person you hire, and I've always hired with, you're going to make this role better and you're going to systematize it as you go. So
Absolutely.
my original systems, and I still use them, right? We have something called canned responses.
Mhm.
So for someone that comes into the company, I don't know how to handle that. Here's canned responses from an upset to a refund to, they just need a hug. So as you get bigger, people just want edification and love. So literally we have do you need a hug? Right. And so it's my words, my fingerprint, and then what they would say in the beginning themselves.
Yeah.
To answer that at your customer service. Now, who would have thought, right? I need a hug email, but it just helps them to understand your culture versus, I'm sorry, you're having a bad day, right? If they don't know your culture. Loom is brilliant. Love Loom as well. Because nobody has the attention span to read, right? And we're calling it micro learning now. That's the sexy new title, which is 3 minutes, micro learning. Like you look at TikTok, right? 1 minute to 3 minutes max. And if I watch it, 3 minutes is like, oh, this person's going on forever, right? So it's 3 minutes. I remember, Michael, back in the day, we'd have hour webinars. Nobody's staying for an hour. They're not staying there. Even trainings right now, no one's staying.
Yeah.
Right. So if you got to train the way your employees, your team, your consumer wants to have that.
Yeah. And where are they right now? They're all here, right? They're watching video. I've got a 13-year-old and 11-year-old daughter. They're right here watching all these things, and business can do that. And you're a lot like me in the fact that we speak like this. I mean, we're just all over the place. Well, Loom was like the coolest thing for me because when I type, I can get a message across, but there's so much more. Like right after this, Susie, you're going to get it. Okay. I'm going to send you Loom and it's going to be video. I'm going to say, Susie, thank you so much. I could do that in a text email, but it doesn't carry the power. And what I tell business owners is use Loom in your prospecting. When somebody books an appointment with you, have a lot of automation, but send a Loom video and say, hey, Susie, thank you for reaching out and scheduling that time. I am really looking forward to talking with you about how I can help you. Look forward to our meeting next week. Have a great day.
Well, what I love is people go, I'm not good on video. Who cares? It's not about you. It's about the consumer. They just want to hear from you, right?
Yes.
It's important that you go, whatever, get over yourself. It's not about you. It's about that person.
Yeah.
So,
well, let's talk about.
Look, I'm looking at my hair and I'm like, oh my God, whatever. It's not about me.
It's not at all. Yeah. I gave that about 3 or 4 years ago when before that, I was trying to be like the person you thought I should be as a book publisher. I finally gave that up and said, you know what? I'm going to be Michael. And if you like Michael, let's do some things together. And if you don't like Michael, great, get out of my life because we're not a good fit. That's okay.
Right. You want to get rid of them quicker, faster.
Really
right.
do.
I don't want everyone. I want the right people. You can do more with less people. Right. So we do $2 million a year right now. This brand's new with only 12,000 people in our database. We don't have a lot of people in our database. We have the right people in our database. Right. So when I'm working with my partners, they'll go, you only have 15,000 people. I'm like, yeah, but we do 2 million with that number. So they're the right people.
And I love that because so many times we think we have to reach the world. And I tell them, I said, no, for a local business owner, financial planner, attorney, I said, if you had 300 or 400 people in your database, every one of them know 5 people at least. Okay. Now you've just expanded. How are you building relationships, referrals? How are you staying into? You don't need this massive, massive list, but you need the right people. I love that. I hope everybody caught that.
We'll spend more on finding the right people, right? We'll spend as much as $80 for a lead, but it's the right lead versus,
Yes.
spending $1. And especially locally, if we can do local marketing through Facebook or Google, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
gold
Gold.
to have those constant leads come in, because we lose 30% of our customers every year
Yeah.
right? Just because, right? They move, they're done with you, they're tired of Michael, they want to find the next sexy hot thing, right? He was sexy hot 2 years ago. Now they're like, oh, I need somebody new, right?
Yeah.
Whatever, me too, right? Like, she annoys me. Okay, great. So you lose 30% of those people. So if you're not replacing those businesses, that's why you see businesses that are making the same amount of money for 10 years.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say you don't have 10 years of experience. You have 1 year of experience repeating it 10 times.
Absolutely.
Ooh, that was a sucker punch.
That hurts. That hurts. But it's so very true. And losing clients, you can mitigate some of that, because what I find is small business owners don't stay in touch with their clients. I know you got a big Facebook group but you're active with it. You have built community.
Yes.
Talk to that.
I think
Talk about that.
People come for our service and they stay for our tribe, right? We have the best tribe on the planet, right? Helpful, loving, supportive. I got you. Whoever we bring in, they embrace, right? It's not like we're selling them. It's like, if I bring you in, they're like, oh my God, I love Michael. Yeah, because I vetted Michael and he's our people, versus just bringing randos in, right? Especially aligning whatever your business is. There's some strategic partnership that can help you. So if you're a landscape design company, let's go find builders, right? That's a great partner, right? That bigger jobs, right? If you're a financial planner, okay, let's make relationships with CPAs, right? So who is that strategic partner that's is already serving your client? That's the quickest way to cash. Quit working so hard. Geez, let's work smart. And we all hear that, let's work smart than hard. And you're like, what is that? Well, that's what it is right there.
Yeah, it is. It is. And what better way to open those relationships than by sending them a copy of your book? But that's another issue. Let's talk power to profit,
right?
Yeah. Where's my mic? Let's talk about your book, Power Your Profits. What is it? What's it going to give to my audience when they get a copy? I know we're going to give them an opportunity to get a copy, but let's talk about your book. Why'd you write it? How's it help?
I wrote it because you get to a point where you're like, did you implement it? Did you implement the things versus, talking head? Like, at the end of the day, I believe that my life is a gift from God. Amen. What I do with my life is my gift back to God, right? I can't keep this knowledge to myself. It comes natural for me. I worked really hard to figure out how to build 7 and 8 figure businesses. And so it is the journey from bootstrap to big time, right? From every dollar that came in, 50 cents went to me, 50 cents went back into my business, right? So we start with, most business owners never put a business plan together. It's all here in their head. They're like, I know what I'm doing. It's here. Well, I can't bring Michael in my business if he doesn't see the big vision of what I have. Am I building a lifestyle business, which is just paying me a paycheck, and a great paycheck? Am I building $1 million brand? Am I building a $5 million brand? Am I building a $50 million brand? So it's, what is that bigger vision? And you got to get it out of your head. I don't care if it's a lifestyle business or a multi-million-dollar company. So we start with that. Then we look at, well, who do I need on my team if I'm doing that? And then how do I market that? And who's that ideal qualified client? Most people are marketing to fans, right? Because they get that, they're egocentric. I just want 250,000 people on my Facebook. I want 100,000 people on my Facebook. Who cares? None of them can buy.
Amen. Right?
And you got to be careful, because there's a lot of charlatans. They'll get you fans, but they're not even real people.
Right.
Right. So they're not buying anyway. So I always want to look at, let's market to our qualified client, someone that would, right? I always say my qualified is, they got to love and adore me, and I got to love and adore them. I'm too old, right? I need to play with people that are playing a bigger game, and they got to be able to swipe the credit card. They got to be able to afford me. If you're just attracting people that love you, but they can't pay you, that's my ego talking.
Right.
And so we go through the process. Now, chapter 8 is my favorite chapter, because it's math is money, money is fun. Most entrepreneurs hate it. I hated it. I felt like the biggest ding dong when I would meet with my CPA and my accountant, because they'd give me 2 P&Ls. One said I had money, one said I didn't. It would just frustrate the hell out of me. Like, I don't care about the one that says I don't, but you need to know that. No, I can't pay the bills. I don't care. You say we have this much money. I only have this much money to pay bills. So I find that people can manage units, or they can manage dollars. Like, how many things do I need to sell?
Yeah.
And so in that chapter, I break down how do you create that for an entrepreneur? Because it's different. I'm not an accountant, I'm not a CPA. 10th grade, Mr. Syverson said, don't do anything that involves math.
Yeah.
And then my little smart ass said, well, don't put alphabet in math, and maybe I could do math.
There you go.
So it is the process of bootstrapping a 7-figure business. Now I've raised millions. I've taken a company public. I've raised millions for my own business, right? So I touch on that. It doesn't go deep into that, but I just want to say there's money all around you. There's money all around you. That's that knock. That's that opportunity, right? Where is that opportunity, and are you listening for it? So it is the process of what I did to bootstrap a multi-million-dollar company and sell it for $10 million. Look, that's the game. That's what Michael's talking about. He's saying he wants his business to keep paying you. That's one strategy. My strategy was sell it. And then I'm a serial entrepreneur, so I keep just starting businesses and selling them because that's fun. What I love about technology is we can still do business, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. I talked to somebody the other day, here, technology. I talked to somebody the other day, he was in Sao Paulo, Brazil. A week before that, I talked to a lady, she's in India. She lives in a mud hut.
Oh my goodness.
And we got internet. I'm like, how are you getting internet? She told me, it's fascinating. Never before possible, right?
So amazing.
We were talking about your book. We got internet, just went, but that's okay. We're back. Power Your Profits book. We were talking about small business mindset. The money's all, opportunities are everywhere. And I think that's one of the issues with small business. They've got their head down running their business, and they're not looking and listening for that opportunity to go, huh, there. The other thing, Susie, and one of the other reasons I wanted you on my show is not because of just your passion and energy and all of this in your book. And I learned this years ago. I'm going to be the same person in 5 years that I am today, except for the books that I read, the things that I listen to, and the people I associate with. Yeah. I put myself intentionally in high-level mastermind groups, high-level coaching. You and I are in a group together in another area that I'm putting myself around those people because I want to raise to that level. I want my audience to rise to that level. And you're one of those people. You know, you go to your website and you're just like, oh my goodness, who is that? There's no way I could touch her. And you talk to you and you're like, you're just a normal folk. Right. I love it. That's the reality of everybody I've met in business who's super successful. They're just normal folk who figured something out. Right. And they're willing to share.
Yeah, I say business is like this combination locker. Remember these from school?
I do.
And you would be stuck at that locker, right? Or, you know, nowadays it's at the gym or whatever, but you'd be stuck. It's 3 numbers, but you get those 3 numbers in the wrong order, it won't open. Right. You use other 3 numbers, it won't open, right? You miss one little tick, it won't open. That's business. You miss one little tick in your financial department, you're not going to be profitable. You miss one little tick in marketing, you won't have the people to serve, to close them, to make those sales happen, right? So business is, you have to keep looking at where do I need to tweak the combination, and don't get upset about it. Just go, oh, if marketing's not working, what's the tweak, right? If I'm not profitable, what's the tweak? I think we have to ask more questions as entrepreneurs. What I love about my book is every chapter I do an assessment, because I love assessments. I love quizzes. I love to discover for myself how dysfunctional I am or how great I am, right? Versus Michael going, you really need to work on this.
That's like, right.
No. So I love to do these assessments to go, this is the biggest pain point in my business. I'll focus on this first, right? Not all of them, but it gives you a roadmap, right? So if you just got the book and you just did the assessments, your business would completely change, right? So what I love about the book, it's not a start in chapter 1, end in chapter 10. It's, what do you need right now? You need a sales script? Go to chapter 6, right? Go look at that. I give you my $100,000 script. Oh, you need to figure out your finances? Go to chapter 8. So you don't have to start at chapter 1. Like I'm ADD, right? I'm A, B, C, elephant, Q,
that's
zebra, right? So I couldn't even write it sequential. I did because I had somebody like Michael go, we have to write it sequential. I'm like,
it's got to make sense to other people.
As I'm speaking out, but
it's really cool because it's a resource that you're going to keep on your shelf. You're going to pull it out because this month or this quarter, you might be done with finances. Yes. Now you've opened that financial thing. Now, next month, we're going to go to sales. So it's a resource that you continue to go back to year after year after year because the principles are timeless.
Yes.
And Susie's going to help you really unlock the power of profit in your business through systems, through simplicity. And then obviously you've got Facebook groups, you've got programs, you've got coach. I mean, she's got so much more, but start here. And where, Susie, where can they get your book?
Well, Michael is a negotiator, so he got us to give you a free copy of the digital book that we sell. But Michael's like, but my tribe, Susie. And so, I'm about helping my brother out. So, we're going to give you a copy of the ebook so that you can start implementing today. It's in the show notes. So don't wait. You don't have to wait. We find people, they get that and then they end up buying the book. I love books, right? I like to feel it, touch it.
That's right.
Highlight it, but everything you need is in the digital copy. It's not a piece of it, it's the whole book. So I'm more excited to share that as your gift because you're in Michael's tribe and Michael's community.
That's awesome. Thank you, Susie. And yeah, all that information is in the show notes because we want to put that in your hand. And you slid by it, but I'm going to hammer it. Get the book, read the book, the sections that you need, and implement. Don't just read and say, "Oh, that was a good chapter." Yeah. Implement, take the time, block out. One of my coaches in a mastermind every week, he has a 2-hour blocked time on Tuesdays. It's called focus time. And he uses that time to build systems in his business. I thought, well, that was really brilliant. Why don't you block out an hour every week to read one chapter of Susie's book and implement what you need in your business to grow more profits in your business. Do that in your business.
It's so easy for you. I give you, here's what you need to implement, right? We try. I'm a good book coach, right? Get the assessment and here's what you should implement and do it until it's complete, right? One chapter might take you 3 weeks. Be okay with that. Who cares? It's not about finishing the book. It's about doing the work so you can build either a lifestyle business, a 7-figure business, whatever game you're up to playing. Our goal is to help you cross that finish line for yourself.
Love it. I love it. Susie Carder, poweryourprofitsbook.com is where you can get that /ebook actually for the special offer. That's all in the show notes. But Susie Carder, you're an amazing person and a vibrant. I love that about you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing just a bit of your knowledge, your information, sharing the book, and really want people to just reach out to you. Hang out with Susie and her tribe because they really will change your life and your business. It's not rocket science. You just need to hang around people who've got it figured out so she can help you find that combination for your business so that you can grow.
So you can find us on our website is my name, Susie Carder, CARD as in dollar, dinero, delicious, ER, right? Our social media, same thing, Susie, CARD as in dollar, delicious, ER. So everywhere you can find me by my name, so that you can come and check us out, right? We've got YouTube videos, blogs to just bite-sized information so that you can have it for your cocktail for success. I'm your sister in the journey, want to support you in making your dreams a reality.
I love it. Susie, thank you so much for being here. Take care, my friend.
Thank you, Michael.